Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Daryl Talks podcast. Today, we've got a chap who wears quite a few hats, and I can't wait to get into it. We have got Andrew Hatch. When did you move to Saltash?
When I was about 3 or 4, St Stephen's School.
No way.
Yeah.
That's
Cornish.
Yeah, you're proper Cornish.
Cornish, bunting, flags in the garden, that sort of thing. When I go to work, they try and tell me I'm not Cornish, and sometimes it suits when I'm in Cornwall to tell people I'm Plymouth-ian. It depends where I am, you know.
You know what? I completely get that. So welcome, Andrew. I don't think I've ever called you Andrew. You've always been Hatchy to me.
Yeah. Crack on.
Is that good?
Hatchy or Andrew, don't mind.
Cool. So before we start, just want to get into some icebreaker questions.
Yeah.
So first question is, if you could meet 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be?
Obviously, I've been listening to your podcast, so I'm not coming in blind on this, but also I don't know how other people think about it, but some people get caught out trying to be a bit cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
And that's kind of, I've been in between that thinking, you know, do you try and act cool, or do you just actually say the 3 people you want, sort of thing?
Yeah.
I suppose the first one for me, and it is a popular one, would be Ricky Gervais.
Yes.
I think it's just a non-negotiable for all the reasons I'm sure you can imagine. And we would just probably talk dogs a lot of the time.
Yes.
Because I'm sure we're getting to the fact of my love of dogs. Secondly, probably a more serious one, Che Guevara.
Really?
Yeah. Again, we're getting some of my background and some of the work I do, but absolutely fascinates me. And I almost I offend myself because I know a lot, but there's so much more to know past the iconic. Yeah. And third, it would be Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds.
Growing up, Smoking the Bandit, Hooper, just the way he lived his life. He could be the one sat on a bar stool just telling you stories, and you just sat in awe, you know, whether it was life through women, through earning money, losing money. It would just be epic to sit with those 3.
He was in The Longest Yard as well, wasn't he?
Yard,
he was brilliant in that.
He was brilliant in the bad films. Like he was in films with Dolly Parton. I think it was called The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas and stuff like that. And it was just just so good.
That's
so good.
That's bar Ricky Gervais.
Yeah,
those 2 firsts on here.
Yeah, good.
So thank you very much.
That's all right. That's all right.
Second question is, what is your biggest ick? So something that annoys you that might not annoy everyone else.
If anybody's listened to this that actually know me, and you know, I think I might have said to you at the time, like, you know, I don't know why anyone would have listened to what I got to say, but we're here and there's a few people talking about it.
Thanks, man.
Is that car parks at supermarkets, right?
Yeah.
And actually, I'm gonna take a bit of a thing on this one. There's 2 things.
People
don't put the trolley away.
Yeah. Oh,
it just says so much about them.
It really does.
And you know, people who go into a car park and they'll drive through the spaces to get to somewhere else in the car park rather than following the way around. God, that pissed me off.
You're thinking about a local car park?
All of them. They all do the same. Ironically, because I like to park as far away because it's just another way of getting a few steps in. But I think to myself, what are you doing with those 3 seconds? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't even know what you've gained. And then I tend to freakishly watch them walk over and they fall over.
Yeah, but that pisses... Wait.
God, that gives me the right hump. That
Have you ever confronted anyone?
No, I'm that kind of one. If I see I'm putting the trolley away and I see someone not doing it, I'll go and get it, but I'll do that. No problem, I'll get it. Type
passive aggressive.
When someone doesn't open a door for you, or you do something, you let someone through and they don't say anything. You know?
No, that's good. That's good.
And they just think I'm a dick.
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
They're the ones being a dick. So, third and final question is: if you had a superpower, what would it be?
This for me couldn't be more simple. Being able to hear what dogs say.
Yeah, Dr. Dolittle.
Just dogs.
Just dogs?
Yeah, because from what they get across to us anyway, if I see a dog go to the beach, and I'd say it to my wife all the time, and you know when they're waiting to get off the lead and then they get off, and all I can imagine in their head is just so happy, and I would just love to be able to sit and Harvey up to the dog, or just even understand what they're thinking, what they're saying, when they're in pain, when everything.
So I feel like we should get the dog stuff out of the way now, because you are like buzzing to be talking about dogs. I can see it, and you've mentioned them twice already.
Well, it was coming around here, and when we met for a coffee and had a chat, and I found out your dog was called Barry, which I thought was the best name ever. I was gone then. We were talking about sensible stuff, and I just wanted to talk about the dog.
No. So what is it about dogs?
I think it wasn't always the case. We've always had dogs, but over the past, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 years, something like that, I've just come to the point where human beings in the most disappoint me massively. I keep my circle quite tight, even though I am social. I've got a big social circle of friends and stuff and things like that. Dogs are just there. They're just there. Not just my dogs or any dogs. We've always had rescue dogs. One day I'll have a puppy, but they always seem to want to repay you. When I'm out, I just want to see the dogs, whatever shape, and the mistreatment of them and everything about it. If someone starts talking to me about a dog, I mean, like, so when my I only knew two of my grandparents.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's any kind of secret in our family that they were quite reserved. So there wasn't a massive relationship. They weren't horrible or anything. It was just, just old school, like quite cold. And when they passed, I was sad. But when my dogs have passed, different level.
Yeah.
Different level and
Proper grieving.
Yeah. 100%. And I just think I like when people get puppies, but I'm so much in the boat of trying to push that there's enough dogs out there that need the help, and I just love them.
Yeah, see, we before we got Barry, we looked into getting a rescue because we thought that would be the best thing to do. But because one of the first questions they asked us were, "Do you plan on having children?" Now they blanket say, "If you're thinking of having children."
Yeah, local, dog rescue they make it so difficult for people to rescue now.
Yeah,
it's really difficult.
And
to the point where a lot of people do go abroad again because it's less red tape. It's a massive part of my life, and one that will probably join into some of the stuff we might talk.
Yeah, definitely. So, where did your story begin?
School, Saltash, St Stephen's, in obviously what we would call the new St Stephen's before the time where the college was. Went through there and then went to Saltash Comp. Like most people, obviously thought I was going to be a professional footballer, so didn't have to, do anything towards it. Whereas then I realised as a goalkeeper that, I couldn't catch very well. And that's a downfall. And I'm a big believer now in people just find their path.
Yeah.
And I think my dad always reminds me and us of when he went to see my form tutor at the time. And the form tutor said, like, he'll find his path, but it probably won't be through academics. Not as in I was struggling, because I could have gone sixth form and things like that. Just, it's probably not the life for me. And as it turns out, my son's pretty much followed a similar path now of going away from school. Not really enjoyed it. I love school, by the way. I did love it.
Yeah.
I mean, tuck shop, getting to play all the sport you want, and you're there for a few hours a day.
Like, if you could go back, you'd just do it so differently, wouldn't you?
I would.
I wouldn't moan.
Nah.
The shortest working day ever.
Yeah. It's just unbelievable. And people, like, give you food or whatever. It's just, it is brilliant. So, yeah, I did that. I was really lucky because my mum and dad split up when I was probably 2 or 3, maybe. No, a bit older than that, actually. They're probably listening and go, you got that all wrong. But they've always got on,
That's really good.
A couple of little things, but they've always put me as their priority, and I'll be forever grateful for that.
That's so nice.
And actually, I lived down the bottom of this road.
No way.
Yeah. And then I went to college for a little while. Again, pretty much just went through the motions, had a good time.
Did you just go because everyone else did, or?
Yeah, well, when I realised I wasn't going to be a sportsman, I thought about being a sports journalist.
Oh, nice.
But I've always been interested in those stuff for earning money.
Yeah.
So I've always had a job, whether it was Mills Milk, when I was...
You worked for Mills Milk?
Yeah.
So did I.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. I loved it until I started falling asleep at school after 3 o'clock starts in the morning. I was like, can you imagine what I was, 13, 14, 50, 60 quid a week.
Oh no.
It's like Rockefeller,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
They were good days, though.
Yeah.
I mean, one day we'll look back at these days and say they're good days, but it was good fun.
Yeah.
It was good fun.
So you always worked. So when did you sort of find like a job?
So I did a couple of bits in between summer holidays and stuff, some stuff down Vosper's over the 6 weeks at Toshiba, if you remember Toshiba.
Yeah.
And a lot of my pals in the football scene were posties.
Oh, right, yeah.
And a job come up at West Park, applied for it, didn't really think. I thought it was just another thing I would do for a while to earn some money whilst at college. And 25 years later, still in Raw.
No way.
Yeah, it's 25
Did you get like a
years
proper
this year.
Chufty badge for 25 years? Or?
It's 20 and 30.
Oh, no.
So
you got your 21.
Done my own Chufty badge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your leave goes up when you get to 20 years, so that's the best thing.
Yeah.
But it was, honestly, I don't have I know we'll go into a minute around what I actually do, but apart from the odd time where, sometimes you don't not up for work,
Yeah.
I've never not wanted to go.
No way.
And I'm really pretty privileged and lucky for that.
You've seen a lot of change then.
Yeah.
Like massive, massive changes.
Yeah. Huge.
What was the can you just rattle off like a couple of like really noticeable changes that you...
Yeah, easily.
Because I don't know the history of the Royal Mail like you would.
When I started, it was 2 deliveries. So you go out and do 1 delivery. I mean, most people never even knew about it. I used to be home sometimes 7:30 in the morning, back and done. That's very different now. The flights that used to get the mail in earlier, because the whole scene of it's changed. People want to order it now and have it yesterday. All that's happened really is workers' jobs have got a little bit worse.
Yeah.
You've only got to see your cars piled up with parcels and stuff, that it's not ideal. And because it's such a big company, if they want to make a big change to them, is a huge change for Royal Mail. So it takes time to do it. And also they've got a union in the background that's negotiating, which can delay stuff.
Oh,
Not for the
really?
good or the bad, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So how long did you actually do delivery for?
Well, this is what people have a go at me all the time, because we all call ourselves postman, no matter what job we do.
No
And
way, really?
I haven't delivered a letter for 3 years, 22 years,
So
something like that.
literally like 2 years of being
Yeah.
Postman Pat.
Yeah. And it was
And
brilliant,
then-
by the way. It was brilliant.
Was it?
Oh, such a good job. Such a good job.
Do you think that's where you fell in love with dogs to begin with?
Yeah,
Chased by
probably. I never got chased by him, and I started, and this is not mean in a derogatory way, but I started in Southway, and I was a Saltash kid who hadn't really been out of Saltash. All of a sudden, they chucked me with a bag out of a van at Kinnar Crescent in Southway, and it's a different world.
Yeah.
And that was tough, but it was kicked out. Right, off you go. And then since then, I've been in the distribution side of it, driving the lorries.
Nice. So what did you have to do?
Everything in Royal Mail's done on seniority.
Right,
So
okay.
me and you are going for the same job.
Yeah.
It just goes down to who's been in the business longer.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so old. Is it still like that?
Yeah, unless you've got proper specialist roles
Yeah, of
and things
course.
like that, but which you kind of manipulate a little bit. But yeah, it's all seniority.
But what happens if you've got like Joe Bloggs, who's literally, he can't read, but he's been there for ages. Is he?
Yeah.
Is that why the boss? Is that the boss now?
Well, no. Ironically, a lot of people don't really want to be bosses anymore.
There.
Just, I think, the COVID lifestyle, reward that you get for it is not great.
The risk, the time, and everything. Everybody's looking to do things quicker now, aren't they? That you just look like you said about the deliveries.
Yeah.
So, being a leader now in such a big thing, I wouldn't want to do it.
No, and I don't blame people who don't want to do it. It's the same as when we're trying to get union reps. It's the thankless task and they're not rewarded enough. That's as simple as it is. But the only thing that happens then is the quality goes down.
Yeah.
Look, you've got some really good managers and bad managers. You've got really good reps, bad reps. You've got really good staff, not so good staff. Everyone got to deal with everyone the same, because that's how it should be.
Yeah, it's turnover of staff more now.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it's scary actually, because when you got into Royal Mail, unless you mucked it up,
Yeah.
basically
That was your job for life if you wanted it.
Yeah, I mean, in the function I work in, we got 40, 50 year. They've been in the business for 50
Wow.
years, A lot of 40-year men are looking at other jobs because it's changed so much. Obviously, we went through a couple of years ago a real bit of dispute where we were on strike for 18, 19 days, and it's still recovering from that.
Yeah.
Still recovering from that. And people, I've always said to people, you've got to be the master of your own destiny. If you're not happy, you've got to do something about it.
Yeah.
Rather than people that just want to sort of have a bit of a moan about it, but not willing to do anything.
Yeah, I think because I did 15 years with a company, and sometimes it can just grab a hold of you and you think there's nothing else.
Yeah.
But if you're not happy, that's the bit.
Yeah.
If you're happy with that, you're content. You've got everything you could possibly want in life. Crack on, make it 50 years. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
What a brilliant company to work for.
It's literally what I say all the time. You know, I've got enough money to have our holidays. I've got a daughter at university. You know, the son lives at home. We've not got a lot of money, but we got the money to do what we want to do, and we got a great lifestyle.
Yeah,
you know.
No, that's
and I'll always be grateful for that, because the gratitude of that, rather than being something owes me a living, or there's always going to be someone better looking, earning more money, got a bigger house, younger, healthier, fitter.
Yeah.
Being envious of that it's just wasted energy.
There's that thing of comparing yourself to others.
Yeah.
Is pointless.
Absolutely.
But sometimes you can't help it.
There's nothing wrong with doing that. I want to achieve that. That's good.
Yeah, yeah.
But being envious of it, energy.
Yeah. Unless you're in the showers.
Yeah.
Then
definitely, yeah. Because we're all going the same way.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is why a lot of people are scared of it. I just use that. I use the fact that this doesn't go a bit Dino, but this doesn't go on forever.
Yeah.
And I use that as energy all the time. Someone said to me once, a good mate of mine, he said, if you've got enough annual leave and enough money, do everything you can.
Yeah.
And it's got me in a lot of trouble with a wife, you know, golf trips or whatever. Yeah, but remember when Rich said, yeah, I got to do everything I can, you know, that sort of thing. But yeah, we live our lives by it, and to the point where my dad quite often says now he's reasonably envious of how I live my life, because it's very different to how he was brought up.
Yeah.
So we're trying to buck a trend a little bit, really, with sort of my kids as well.
Well, yeah, because there's never been more opportunity to do what you want as well. It's not like you just fall out of school and then you've got to get a manual labour job.
Yeah.
You can literally do anything now.
Yeah. And this old school thing of you got to get a house, get a mortgage. Like, why?
Yeah.
I know people go into the renting scenario and things, but that's a British thing. It's such a British thing. You know, you if you're at a certain age, no, you don't have to do that yet. You can do other things.
You want to travel?
I've
travel.
I was someone at work this week just took out a mortgage and like nearly 60.
That's brilliant.
Just crack on.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do.
And I know people in their 40s who have sold their house, bought a motorhome and travelled Europe.
Yeah.
Why not? If you can do it.
Yeah. Well, that's why we had that chat, wasn't it? Like, a big believer in, it's not your lifespan you want to worry about, it's your health span.
Yeah.
You know, say if you retire at 16, depending on how healthy you are, what have I got then? 15 years of being able to do the things I want to do? Maybe 20 at a push? That's what you got to use that as energy to go, right, actually, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take that risk. I'm going to take that chance.
Yeah, and also, if you don't look after yourself now, those 15 years going to be way more difficult to do the things you want to do. Yeah. Stop wishing for retirement.
Well, that's and that sort of, this is what I say to people, and I keep saying that, but it is, I do like to preach it. I don't think I'd have enough time to do what I wanted to do if I retired. Yeah. Whereas other people, they see it as like the last chapter of their life.
It's like a milestone, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a milestone. I get that, but
you can start doing it now.
Of course you can. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Realistically.
No, that's good. So I'm currently working on what a definition of success is.
Right, okay.
There's something about, like, it's definitely on perception, isn't it?
Yes.
Of success.
Yeah.
Because if you're content, you'll have, like you said, you got money in the bank to do anything you would want. Might not be going business class, but you can go on holiday. Yeah. You can do what you like. You are happy. Is that not success? Yeah. You know? Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. You enjoy your job. You're happy. You want to go to work.
I had a really good example of this. I got two examples of it, actually. where I've got one really good, like close mate. One of my, we call it 10p Club. There's 4 of us. And one of my mates, and I pull him up on it all the time. And if he ever listens to it, he'll know exactly what I'm on about. He talks about how long he's got on his mortgage left. It's not that long. And he's like, when I get there, I'll be happy. When I get there, we're all good then. And I can't bring it in enough. I'm like, why are you waiting to be happy? What? Yeah. Because that part is like what people win the lottery, isn't it? They have that initial part, but then you're still in the same place. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Another friend of mine, we went to golf, and he said, I think he's got 2.5 years till he retires. He said, when I retire in 2.5 years, I'm going to do the whole coastal path. And another lad there who thinks the same as me went, what do you mean when you retire? Why aren't you starting now?
Yeah. You could be finished by the time you retired.
We could be dead before he retires.
Yeah.
So it's that where you just, if you've got things to do and you want to do things, this is Brian Sprott, one of the guys you had on.
Yeah.
You get on with Brian really well. He's got that outlook through other stuff he's been through, and I get mine a lot from mindset stuff that we do in Program 10.
His whole mindset now.
Yeah, it's flipped. And he was in the rat race.
Yeah,
he was in the rat race. But it's just everything's in your head.
Yeah, it is.
It's all there.
Yeah. Back to the Royal Mail stuff. At what stage did you join a union?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just after. It was pretty much you come in and you get basically told, here's your union form, join. Obviously, I didn't know what it was then.
Yeah, of course.
Everyone's in it. All right, okay, I better be in it. You then, over time, you notice where you go through, you have gate meetings, and if you're in trouble, oh, hang on, I need my union rep there. And seeing some of them in action in those days,
yeah,
it wasn't quite the 60s and 70s, but it was good to see, because it stopped people getting taken the piss out of.
Yeah.
That there's extremes both ways, and people who probably lived through the 70s and 80s will tell stories of what they had to live through because of what the unions were doing, and also the other way, the people that were in that fight. And there's families today that still don't speak.
Really?
Some went back to work, and there's like fathers and sons who work in the same pit, stuff like that. That's how much it carried on. So when a good friend of mine was what we call like a branch secretary, and I did some stuff with him, and I said, look, do you need any more help? And he was like, we got the, I can't remember, like early shift, and just started to become a local rep, which is the hardest job in any union, by the way.
Really?
The rep on the floor, yeah. It is, because everyone's got their own issues. Some people are okay about how they put it across, other people are not, and essentially it's a job you ain't getting paid for.
So what is a union?
So I've used the union for Royal Mail, is called the Communications Workers Union. Created things like
Yeah.
So, and things like that. So over the time, the people have created things like that, and that gets built in. So if I am going and representing someone, the business got to follow a certain way.
So this union is solely for the Royal Mail.
No, so Communication Workers Union covers EE, Capita, BT as well.
Oh wow!
So they do, but Royal Mail's the biggest part.
Yeah, so that's a big old.
It is. We're one of the last standalone unions, because you've obviously heard of like Unite, but they've got so many different firms. For my opinion, it gets watered down, and we're currently in a thing where we're trying to stay as a standalone union because we're not away from the trials and tribulation and cost that it takes to run a union.
Yeah.
So I've done that now for, it's got to be 15 years full time. So I don't actually do my job in Royal Mail anymore. I do the job as a union rep full time, represent lorry drivers from Bristol downwards.
Could you just give like an hypothetical situation of where you would be needed?
So I could just literally use today where they're taking the flights out of the sky, the Sheraton Exeter Airport from a Royal Mail point of view. So we've got staff that have been made surplus, their jobs have just gone. So there's another agreement, which is managing the surplus we've got to follow to make sure those guys and girls are treated in the best way, get the best options possible. One of them, it could be that they end up leaving the business on voluntary redundancy, which is again another protection we've got. That's been going on for a while now. I'm in another office which no one ever sees, but there's a thing called Royal Mail Special Services, which is like high-end important documents. I was in there in Exeter today making sure that the people who cover all different jobs are being treated fairly, because they haven't been. It just constantly goes around like that.
So somebody who feels or wants to question whether something's right or not, they would go to you, and you'd be like, here's what I think. Is it because the companies are trying it on?
The companies definitely want to try it on.
Yeah.
But it's not always coming from a bad place.
Of course.
There's you build up relationships with like your interface. Now that could be local rep, local manager, whichever it is. That relationship's got to be right, else everyone loses.
Yeah.
Staff lose, the reps
business
lose,
misses
the
out,
managers
and
lose.
yeah.
There's complex characters out there in a business that's got 130, 140,000 people. There's always going to be those problems. But there was over 200 people sacked unfairly. They basically jumped up charges from picket lines when we had a Tory government then.
Yep.
The business was just trying to break us. They thought that people weren't up for the fight, and they sacked 204 people. And it was bar one, maximum two, that following a review, he's called Lord Faulkner, they all had the chance of a payout or they got the job back.
Oh, wow.
But this is where families were going home, not being able to pay bills, their wives kicking them out because they said you must have done something, they don't sack you for nothing type scenarios.
No way.
Yeah.
And
this is why it's difficult to get back in a room with them now.
Yeah. And that's where the union supported those people.
Massively.
Yeah. Cool.
Huge. It was huge. There wouldn't have been a Faulkner report. There would have been times when we'd have gone to court on certain issues and we haven't got the financial clout that Royal Mail have got. We kind of know how those sort of things go. And it was huge, yeah.
So
down to a few people doing like majorly amazing jobs.
So you mentioned that, is it an unpaid job?
Yeah, so if look at me, for example, I'm what we call full-time released. So I will pick a job on seniority in Plymouth Distribution. I get the allowances and the job, pay for the job that I select, but then I'm voted in by my members of that function or the Southwest, wherever I am now, to do the role I do. And then I'm taken out of that role, the one I've picked as in the drive and the lorry, and I look after from a union side full-time.
Wow.
They got 8-9 sites.
No way.
Yeah.
So
as you go further up, there are jobs that then you just work for the union full time, but Royal Mail still pay our wages.
Oh, really?
Which normally surprises people.
That is really odd.
Yeah.
It just seems really backwards, doesn't it?
Because when we were on strike, people would say some people thought we got paid for being on strike. No, that's not how it works. You lose your money, which at that time was really tough for a lot of people. But also, they'd say, so they're paying you normally, and then you're stopping people from working. It's like, yeah, but it is very different than that.
So you've mentioned the strike.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
The business had a few people in charge on the board that basically decided it was time to finish the union off. It just finished them off totally. As in, we're going to do whatever we want, which they call executive action. If we can't get that sorted in talks, you then ballot your members. I fully believe they thought after 1 or 2 days people would be back to work because of money, because it is different times now.
Yeah,
very
of course.
And to be fair, right across the country, a high percentage was still out on day 18. And when you get to 18 days, it was tough because you saw the very best and the very worst in everybody.
Yeah.
And it was really bitter.
Were you busier in those 18 days than...
Well, so because you kind of got a lead on the picket lines, haven't you?
Yeah.
Were
you holding a sign up and stuff?
Yeah.
No way. Did you make your own sign?
You had signs. The thing is, the Tories brought in anti-strike legislation. It was so difficult to even run a picket line.
Really?
Yeah, to where police were coming down because we had to give all our names to police who were picket line supervisors, all just trying to make it
really difficult.
Yeah.
And
it was hard. And that's when you saw, because members would come down, you had members donating if they were day off on that time, coming down, donating their money to other people that were losing. Little things. The public, don't get me wrong, there's a very different opinion on whether it's right or wrong. Public coming with food, you got the old oil can on, and
no way.
But it was bitterly cut. Honestly, we had one night, right? So the 2 night shift lads said, "Yeah, we'll do the night," and we were like, "Guys, it was ridiculous." It was the time. It was like,
when was this?
2 years ago.
Oh, so it's really recent.
Yeah, 2-3 years ago. And I left them in the evening. I said, "Look, I'm going to come back. I left them at like 11 o'clock. I said, I'm going to come back 4 o'clock because you can just crack on home. It's not, again, they're like local reps as well. We're area reps, so we're released. They're not released. And I got down there, I swear to God, their eyeballs were frozen when I got there.
No way.
They turned around and their eyes, they're like, all right, boys. The spirit is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Honestly, the spirit is unbelievable in people. When you get people that, whether you agree or not on the subject, when you get people that stand together on something that they all believe in and they do it and follow through with the actions, I'll be forever grateful for those people. Forever grateful.
What was your wife thinking at that time?
Worried.
Because like 18 days.
Yeah. And like I say, so it wasn't to the, I think it's more of a concern at that point. You tighten your belt, you cancel your Sky, my golf membership or whatever it is. So it's kind of like luxuries, isn't it?
Of course.
There's a huge amount of people who still live hand to mouth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when someone's coming to you that the door to our office, this is when we had to make decisions come the end of the dispute about the deal we did, is that revolving door of people with very different issues. No one will ever know about.
Yeah.
Because some of it was bad. And do you know what? Some of the people that struggled the most were the biggest supporters.
Really?
Yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
No, there is something about that camaraderie of...
Yeah. But people think you have to be, if you're a union rep, you're like out here, left. That's not, I know I mentioned Che Guevara and that earlier, but not everyone's like that.
Because I was going to say, so why do people oppose unions?
Because there's just two ideologies, isn't there? That's why we've already got to look at whether you agree now or not. Trump's gone one way. You've got, he has to go extreme that way. Biden or, whichever his party would want to go extreme the other way.
Yeah.
For me, in anything, there's always somewhere in the middle. Now, I could be trying to live in like a utopia.
Yeah, of course.
Fluffy bunny rabbits and rainbows or whatever. It's just everyone needs to be an extreme and there's money and that's how it goes. Okay. And all my family are massive Tories from my dad's side as well, so I bucked that trend.
So what's next for you in that role then?
I've just had an election for a role, went on a national scale, which, considering there's 130,000 people in it, I missed out by less than 200 votes.
No way.
Yeah, without going into it, it was meant to be a run at a job to prime for the next time.
Yeah.
So build a profile.
So like a campaign run.
Yeah, because we all get
leading up to.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like trying to
raise a profile.
Yeah, I was just trying. So if a sports team, like, right, if we have a good crack this season, but next season is the one that I'm gonna.
So what happened in that scenario is, in that first season, as it was getting closer to the end of the ballot, or the time the ballot was on, it was looking like we were doing better than we imagined.
Yeah,
and we might actually be able to nick it on this one. That's what happened. However, I'm a massive believer in all the things that they happen for a reason. And my wife, then, she works away 2 nights a week now. It would have been unfair on my son with our dogs, and just how things turned out, that it wasn't the right time.
Yeah.
It wasn't the right time for me, and it wasn't the right time for me to represent the members in that role. That's my honest opinion.
So the other reason that I was really interested to have you on was because you also do some level of PTing as well, don't you?
Yeah, like online.
Online PTing?
Yeah.
Is there a reason you do it online?
People who listen to this might know Pete Styron. He was a PT down at China Fleet Club. And I always said, if I got to 30 and I was out of shape, I'll do something about it then. That's kind of what happened. I did stuff for myself anyway. I ended up training down at Fleet Club. It was a good group of us. Pete PT'd me for a while, and cut a long story short, he went, because the days of doing 15 hours on the gym floor are gone now these days.
Yeah.
You just don't need to do it. There is a market for it, but you just don't need to do it. Pete started Program 10, which was an online coaching course. I'm not sure how many he'd done, 3 or 4, and then he spoke to me about joining as a coach. I'm a bit of a niche on it because of my age, 44, lifestyle. I like a few beers. It was good social life, but also try and manage it.
Yeah.
I got in majorly good shape, which I probably felt the worst ever.
Yeah.
I got myself qualified and then started coaching on that. And it's been, it must be 4 or 5 years now at least.
So Do you or did you have a six pack?
I've had one, yeah.
Was it as bad as everybody says?
It was just horrendous.
Yeah.
I think it's getting to the stage where you're that lean, you don't want to have sex.
Yeah.
And this is for men, it's even worse for women. You don't want to have sex, you're tired because you're so depleted. People do manage a six pack, but when we're talking shredded,
Yeah.
this is why I take my hat off to people who can do it, go on stage, stick to it, because it mucks your body up, but also it can muck your head up, but it's an achievement.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's how I got into it, program 10.
No way.
Yeah, still do it now. And my main focus is on coaching people anywhere around my age, but also big on the mindset side, because it used to be just training,
Yeah.
do what you got to do. Now I'd say it's more like lifestyle coaching. I coach anywhere from 30 up to late 60s.
Wow. And is there a difference in attitude from the 30-year-olds?
Yeah, but I don't think there's a difference in attitude because of their age. I think it's a different attitude as in just who they are.
Yeah, of course.
But because we've done it, coached thousands of people, it's amazing the relationship you have through check-ins and something when you don't. I've coached people for years I've never met.
Yeah, so how does it work?
Basically, they've got an app. They have this is really crude way of looking at it.
No, of course.
Which has the workouts on it, which has the nutrition plan. And to be fair to Pete, it's all bespoke. It's all video. It's all recorded. The recipes are done. You go in Facebook groups where the support is all there from the coaches. There's lives all week. I do a mindset Monday. It's gone from what it was to what it is now. It's like chalk and cheese, and it's a real good format if you use it well enough and want to change. It's unbelievable.
So what was it about mindset that made you hone in on that?
I started doing, I've read a lot. I think the mental health stuff from back in the day had an effect, and I was really interested in learning about it, how our mind works, and without getting into the scientific side of it.
Yeah, of course.
Because I think just in general, and started reading books. And on a Monday on my own Instagram, I just started doing this little pick-me-up, talking to people. It's only 3 or 4 minutes, and I used to do it on a Monday, and I used to get loads of feedback, especially if I missed one.
Yeah.
They're like, where are you? This sets me up for the week. I listen to this on a Monday, and it sometimes is motivational, sometimes it was just around. And then Pete said, do you fancy making that a program 10 thing? And I was like, yeah, we'll do Mindset Monday every Monday, and I still do it now. I must have done hundreds and hundreds.
No way.
Yeah, and it's all through reading, gathering information, life, what you learn, and I really love it, and it's changed my life just learning about it massively.
Yeah, I obviously doing so many episodes.
Yeah,
and one of the things I always wanted to do with the podcast is have an underlying chat about mental health.
Yeah,
purely because I've always struggled with it.
Yeah,
without realizing it for most of my life. People who talk about the mindset and understand it.
Yeah,
honestly, it's like wizardry to me.
It is, but no one's got it all figured out.
No, I know.
It's something that I'm the same, and I think it's funny. I can tell you the first time I ever, looking back, I can pinpoint the minute that I realised when I'd had my anxieties and etc. And talking about Mills Milk, so I worked for Millsy. Obviously Andrew Mills always had number one.
Yeah.
And I remember the gun went off, whatever it was, and I sprinted up 4th Street, and I'm not a runner.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, running's for people who are shit at sport. Sorry to all you runners out there.
Yeah.
But it's... and I sprinted up there, and I remember not being able to breathe. It was on before I ran up there, and I remember my dad was over there, and I think it was my mum was there, and I remember going over, grabbing my dad. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And I look back now, and I think, wow, I was 12, I don't know, whatever it was. And I remember thinking, that was it. That was where I can recognise that the anxiety started. And say, similar to you, I think people think I've got it figured out. My wife will tell you I ain't got it figured out.
Yeah, of course.
Because I'll be honest with you, she's the women in our life are just, I've always said this, they're just stronger. What they got to go through.
They're just built differently,
They're
aren't
built
they?
differently. It's the same as anything. Traumas you go through in your life just make you what you are, but you have to go through them, whether they're menopause, whether it's having a baby, or worse things than that. They're just unbelievable. But when my wife had our second, so we had Kaylee young, was like 20 or 21, and then Kieran come along quite sharp after, and Gemma's hormones weren't recovered. After that, it was a really, really tough time. So we got 2 kids. By the way, I'm not saying no one else has had tough times, but we had 2 kids, and she got in a bad way mentally with postnatal depression, to the point where, and Gemma won't mind me doing this, is people coming up from Bodmin, taking her out, doing stuff because, and I remember her sitting there, she said, I don't know why I'm feeling like this, but I can't do anything about it. And it was horrible because I had to stay on such a level, going to work, kids, couldn't be, and I'm up and down like a horse draws, right?
Yeah.
I am. Anyone who knows me will tell you, I don't make any. I say to Gemma and the kids is, I said, I'll give you the biggest highs, but I'll give you the biggest lows.
Yeah.
Some days I'm going to come in and mow my head off because, I don't know, a tea towel's out of place. And other days I'll come home and I'll give you the best night. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That sort of thing. But when Gemma was better, it hit me hard.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it was. It sort of culminated in the fact where when I was driving the lorry that I used to drive from Plymstock down to Newquay, not knowing where my next breath was coming from.
Really?
Yeah, all the way. And just being so tired to the point where the best time I look forward to, and kind of we discussed it a little bit, was going to sleep.
Yeah.
And that 30 seconds max probably when you wake up and you haven't remembered your anxiety.
Yeah.
Felt like the best time in the world, and then it all just started again. And it culminated, and I went up the doctor's. I'm not even sure if Gemma knew about it at the time, but I just went up. I remember being in the shower, and I thought, I can't carry on like this. I don't know what's going on. Can I actually not breathe?
Yeah.
Can I not?
That's the fear, isn't it? It's the not knowing.
Yeah, it was the best thing I ever did, because the woman there, they called me back up a couple of hours later, and I remember she went, because I'm like, I'm going to keel over, like I can't breathe. She said, anytime you've had this, have you ever fainted or dropped? Yeah. I was like, no, but I feel, she was, and then it dawned on me, I was like, and that wasn't it cured, but
no.
We went through other parts where, again, I didn't really understand it. It was more I wouldn't open Christmas presents in front of people.
Really?
My wife's, or my mother-in-law still, they joke about it now, which you can do, but I used to go behind the curtains. And I'm a grown bloke with kids. I couldn't do it. Couldn't go out to eat.
Wow.
Couldn't do it at all because I just felt so sick. Ironically, I used to play the best golf when I was feeling like it, because I wasn't thinking about the golf.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously it was just tough. And that's why my massive love for my dog Harvey, because he was with me through every bit of that. And that's why even to this day, I miss him bad.
Yeah. That's like, it's funny how something so simple can make you feel that way.
Yeah.
And it just, yeah. And the fact that just a pet,
yeah,
who is so much more than that, but...
Well, they talk about you having your one soul dog, don't you? But I think it was relevant to him being there when the kids grew up. But honestly, if you looked at my Instagram, I used to, obviously Whitsounds was close and Tregantle. Yeah. I used to just chuck him in the car and we'd go down there. And I'd sort of arrive there and not remember any of the bit of the driving there. And I just used to sit or whatever it was. And there was occasions where I was driving there, and I don't know, it sounds dramatic, but I wasn't convinced I was coming back.
My Lord.
Do you know what I mean?
No,
that doesn't mean I was going to do it, but
no.
I was, and at some point in there, it was the fact that I couldn't leave Harvey.
Yeah.
What would he have done? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was a moment where you go, and I still get it now. I just manage it. It's nothing like it was, but it kind of explains why you, like say, when I go through my Instagram and you see Harvey everywhere. He's been gone nearly 3 years, and I could break my heart now.
Yeah.
And the thing we discussed is that's the first time I've told anyone that.
Yeah. Thank you. And how do you feel from saying it? Sorry, I'm not a therapist.
No. People talk about the fact that people should speak about stuff all the time. my instant reaction is, what's my son and daughter and wife going to say about it?
Yeah.
Instantly is, there's a lot of things there that are they going to be upset that I haven't told them first? I couldn't. I just couldn't. And that's when you got hold of me about doing this, was it feels like it's time.
There's something to be said about it being the right time to do it. Because if you're just saying it for saying it because somebody told you that it's going to make you feel better, it probably won't.
No.
But if you're holding something in that you deep down want to say, that you want to say it out loud, or just, I don't know, like be dramatic about it, shout it out in a field or something daft like that. But if that's what you want to do, there'll be a time when you feel, do you know what, that's right.
I think the other part of it as well is, like I said to you, I think people think when you do Mindset Monday, or I'm kind of it's going to sound like self-promotion. It's not. I don't mean this in this way, but I'm the one who organises our lads groups. If we're doing anything, we organise it. If any of the lads have got a problem, we're the ones who do it.
Yeah.
In the union stuff, more of an alpha, whatever it is. And one of our very good friends in our group died in the last couple of years, and myself and another lad in there were like sorting stuff out with the family and things like that, and it just falls. And when I think it should be refreshing for people to hear that someone who people probably think has got it all sorted out. I've got a couple of real close friends who know when I'm feeling like it.
Yeah.
And if they're listening now, they'll know who they are.
Yeah, of course.
Because and apart from my friends, the main one who can tell is Gemma.
Yeah.
Straight away. Like, she'll let me carry on being a dick because she knows.
Yeah.
And I know I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm being a dick.
But you can't help it.
But so I'd be forever grateful for Harvey, and also the work I've done myself to try and sort it as well.
Well, that's it, because so many people aren't able to fight it, manage it. And by now, we all know someone who has lost that fight, that battle, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel lucky, doesn't it?
Lucky. So lucky.
And I'm not big on the whole, like, luck thing, but shit me.
Yeah.
What are the odds that I've felt that way and not gone that way?
Well,
like, there's got to be some mathematical odds that how fortunate we are.
Yeah, 100%.
To be in the position of being able to manage.
We, like I say, when we went to get or applied for Harvey at Gables, we were like 5th in the list, and we were, we're not going to get him. And it just turned out that we got him.
That's mad.
All the people dropped out, and then he was the one there for me.
Yeah.
Massive. Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's anything mystical happening, but they always end up.
Yeah.
When you look back on something, you think, oh God, what are the chances?
Yeah, this is why, like, it's an old saying, but you don't get too high on the high and don't get too low on the lows. Because when I'm coaching people, I try and get through to the fact I love it when they go through some of the hardest times.
Yeah.
Because when they're going through those hardest times, they're learning, and they're going to have another brick built in, like, their resilience.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're checking, it's a bad week, this went on. Sometimes, like, the worst things ever.
Yeah.
I've coached people with like the worst things you can imagine. But it's another block in their resilience. It's another block in their learning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. How rewarding is it for you?
Massive.
Like,
especially when we did it during COVID.
Yeah, I bet.
Because we did come like counsellors to a lot of people.
You are, I bet.
And no one had anything else to do.
So, a lot of great things came out of COVID. A lot of really bad things came out of COVID. Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
I loved it.
But so many good things. Look at just like how people work now, how it's sped up internet usage and being able to work from home, and all of a sudden,
well, we worked, didn't we?
Yeah,
in our business.
Of course you did.
That first day after that, we drove in, and it was just me not just me, but we had our little letters saying, we're allowed to work, and that was weird. But I just like the way people were different.
Yeah,
that ability to just not do anything and not feel guilty about it. Apart from, the horrendous side of it.
Yeah, but like everything slowed down.
Yeah.
like the whole world took a breath.
Yeah.
Right,
Unless you come inside 2 meters near me, and then I'm ready to lose my shit. Hey, 2 meters. You look back, don't you? I remember queuing outside Waitrose in the rain. I look back now thinking, what was I doing?
Yeah.
What were we doing? But
so I worked in Waitrose for COVID, and so I bubbled with my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Which meant I couldn't see my mum.
Bubbled. That's so
right. Yeah, but
it's mad, isn't it?
I know. And my mum queued up outside Waitrose.
Yeah.
Because she could come in as a customer.
Yeah.
To see me.
Yeah.
Right. And she's at the window outside queuing up, and somebody got me, and she's there up against the window, just crying her eyes out because I haven't seen her. I'm a proper mummy's boy.
Yeah.
And
same.
I got so upset. But how ridiculous
it was crazy.
Was that?
It was crazy. But it was, again, it's another thing we've been through. I remember seeing my mate at the time, and I said to him, you know when this, life is never going to be, it's never going to be the same again. No. It just won't, and it hasn't been, but it becomes the next normal.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's a new normal. So, with the PTing and like the mindset stuff, if there was one freebie you could give away to people who are listening,
the simple way of looking at your mindset is, you're either fixed, you've either got a fixed mindset or you've got a growth mindset. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you're definitely one or the other, but when you go into deeper on the sides of the fixed mindset, that will just open up avenues massively in other directions. So there's a really good book by Carol Dweck, and it's called Mindset, and it's the look at that side of it. If you can read that, and it's heavy going at times, but if you can read that, and that's the one that gave me the most understanding, like a base layer of mindset on how you can improve by the way you change. So basically the growth mindset is around, I know I can't do something, but I'll try and I'll fail because I want to improve it, where other people might think, no, I can't do that, so I'm not even going to try,
so I won't.
And stay in your comfort zone. There's so much to be said about moving outside of your comfort zone, trying. And I've had so many people through Program 10, through coaching, have got new jobs. They've gone for jobs they would never go for, but they thought, actually, I'm going to go for it and have a try. People have changed relationships because they've grown in areas that their partner didn't go in the same direction. And mindset would just change everything for you. But if you can understand fix and growth mindset, it'll put you on the first step.
And back to what I was saying about the success thing. From doing these episodes, it really seems like people have, the most successful people at some point have been at a low.
Yeah.
And they've just kept going. Like, without quoting Finding Nemo, just keep swimming.
Yeah.
Like that bit.
Well, honestly, my mum, she's worked all her life, being a cleaner and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
She's a proper grafter. I'll always go to her, and she's not academic by any stretch of the imagination. And she said something to me once, and she's had heart bypasses, cancers, all sorts, but she never stops. And she said to me once, I said, Mum, she said, what's the other option? What's the other option to doing something?
That's so good.
We have to carry on.
That's so simple.
Some of the worst things you're ever going to go through, what do you do? She said, what's the other option? Give up. No, pal. No giving up here.
Yeah.
And you can't. No matter what you're going through, if anyone's listening to this and going through horrendous times and whatever it may be, the clouds will part at some point and the sun will come through. It just may not seem like it at the minute.
Yeah. And just do something. Do something about it. If you think it helps.
Do you know what the best thing, if people just want to try and get a bit better at something, especially with the mental side, is go out, go for a walk. Honestly, it's so simple. I get people doing walking.
Yeah.
I hate it when people, the first time they leave the house in the morning is to go to the car and go to work. I'm always like, don't make the first time you leave your house be the time you go to work.
Yeah, the first chore of the day sort of thing.
Yeah.
Get some you time in first.
Yeah. It's so important.
It's a side hustle for you though.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You still got a job, you still got children, you still got everything else.
Yeah. My friends sometimes say they're bored. I'm like, when are you bored? But also, ironically, I promote being bored.
Yeah.
Some people have to get them to go, right, I need you to do nothing for 15 minutes this week. That's your only challenge.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed how hard people find that. So I'll quite often go up the coffee shop, don't take my phone, and just sit for 15, 20 minutes.
No way.
Yeah. It's brilliant. And I see people up there, and I come up like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I was sitting in peace till you rocked over, right?
Yeah.
Sod off and leave me alone.
Yeah, maybe you have to go somewhere else. It's like Saltash is too small in those circumstances, isn't it?
It is. If you can do something like that, resets, obviously, a lot of people get by the water or whatever it is. Don't forget to do those things. Don't get caught up in all the jobs and chores. And another thing, people, they go on holiday and we've all done it, and we go, you sat on a pile of pool, you got a beer. This is the life. And it's like, it's not.
It's really
This
not.
isn't your life.
Yeah.
This is our life. Like, you getting the kids to bed before this, me sorting out my dogs and doing dinner and stuff like that. That's the life. So enjoy those bits as well. I think I said I would give my right arm to walk my kids to school one more day. It doesn't mean every time I did it that I wanted to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would give anything.
Yeah. And I watched a video the other day of somebody saying, like, one day you won't have your children at home.
I can tell you that now.
And it will be the worst feeling ever. So just those moments where you're absolutely pulling your hair out.
If you're running around with the kids' clubs, if the kids are chucking dishes around whilst you're trying to do dishes, if your floor is dirty with marks from stuff from the kids, whatever it is, honestly, enjoy it. Deal with it. Enjoy it. Don't let the fact that your boss has been a dickhead at work not let you enjoy that moment.
Yeah.
You can, because it's too important. Katie's 22 now, Kieran's 19, and they're both getting on with their lives. I'm so lucky that they still want to do stuff with us. We still go on holiday all together.
There's something that I'm surprised you haven't mentioned yet. Because if it was me, I would have opened with that. I would have wanted to have been introduced with that. And you've just kept proper stum about it. You've climbed Kilimanjaro.
Well, it's because, honestly, I don't like to talk about it, apart from the fact we do all the time. Constantly. It was 12, 13 years ago. We had a real good group of us, and our friends, because we were called like the Argyle Five at the time, but there was a group of us who did it, and it was immense. But we do remind people as much as we can every 5 minutes.
So how did that come about?
So a good friend of mine who was looking, I don't know if he was Argyle president at that time or not, he decided that we were going to climb a mountain, and we wanted to do it as 5 pals, but we were then in another group that St Luke's before, so we did it for St Luke's. There must have been 10, 15 of us, some really good characters, really good. It was just immense. And for the first few days of it, we felt like we were on a stag do.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened after that?
Scary.
Was it?
Yeah, people think, because they see, Chris Moyles did it, and, this, that and the other. But then there's professional footballers that have tried it and failed just because of the altitude. So it doesn't, ironically, I think smokers find it easier.
Yeah, because they've got less going around.
So they go on. But I'd say it was tough, and you all have your moments. But the last, you go for 5, 6 days, constantly walking. You basically go up and then down a little bit, up and down a little bit to try and acclimatise. And then you summit, but you leave at midnight on the last night. So you don't get there till 9, 10 o'clock, get set up, and then they're waking you back up, basically, so you can summit as the sun's coming up. And we did that, and it was obviously pitch black, and people are just keeling over around you. And the Sherpas won't let, like in our group, and you want to help them naturally, but you can't, because if you stop, you'll freeze.
You'll be the next
Not
one.
Not like freeze to death, but it's just that we had 8 layers on. And that was tough to deal with. And I remember you go to, I think it's Stella Point, the first bit, which isn't the end.
Yeah.
And then you look, and it's like further out on the other part. And there was, people's noses were, luckily it wasn't mine, obviously. Noses were exploding. And it was epic. Well, I love it if my mates listen to this, because they were like, yeah, that's we know. Like, we know.
So one other thing, that we haven't mentioned is you were a football coach.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I ran Saltash United for a few years.
And the only reason I know that is because I went training to try out and you basically binned me off. How did you get into the coaching role?
A good mate of mine got the job. And then the guy who was running it had his own issues and had to step down. So I stood in for a bit, and then it was a time where we went 2 months without playing. I'll tell you what, the biggest thing I learned out of that, when I was running the team, everyone wanted a minute of my time. The minute I resigned, I went back in a club. It was just Joe member walking in. And you think, and that was another learning curve where you go, actually, people don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And it's good, that's how it should be. But too many people spend time in their own head thinking that people give a shit about them. And this is a big thing I go on about all the time. Whether you're going into a gym worrying that people are going to look at you, whether you're out on a night out and you're worried that what people think, it's only what you think they think about you.
Yeah.
You have no idea what they're thinking. And you ain't that important. So get over yourself, enjoy it, wear what you want.
That's so true.
Go to the gym, do what you got to do.
And I am such a victim of doing it.
I think everyone is.
Fair.
I think everyone is. It's difficult, isn't it? But
yeah.
Look, none of us are important enough for anyone to be bothered about.
Yeah.
Apart from if you're family and things like that.
No, that's brilliant.
You're not that important. I'm not. You're not.
I was going to say, please don't single me out.
So and then it was just, on to golf. That was it.
Yeah. And now you're a keen golfer.
Yeah, I've been for a long time. Yeah, it replaced football. We have 16, 24 of us every week in the summer, every Saturday and Wednesday. And I like my golf in after having a beer, taking the mick, giving out the wooden spoon, doing what we do. It's just, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what people do. What do you do when you stop playing sport on a Saturday? Because one time I didn't, and Gemma made me go to Waitrose and Lidl, and I was like, even if the golf course is shut next time, I'm pretending it's open.
Yeah.
I just go, I don't care what I'm doing. I'm not doing that.
Well, Hachi, thank you so much for this.
No,
I
it's
really
pleasure.
appreciate it.
I still don't know why anyone wants to listen to it, but there we go.
Well, I'll let you know if anybody does. Right?
Just if you get one, it'll be ideal. Brilliant. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Guys, thank you so much for listening. I really hope you've enjoyed this, and I really hope you appreciate how difficult it must have been finally talking about something that you've potentially wanted to for many, many years. So, for now, cheers.
Cheers.